Haley House Bakery Cafe has been a fixture in Roxbury since 2005. That is, until last year, when the social enterprise restaurant was closed for a strategic hiatus. But it's back in operation near Nubian Square with the same social mission, writing a new business plan. To tell us about the plan and the upcoming relaunch are the general manager from Haley House, Misha, and the catering driver, Lara. Thank you both for being with us.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I want to start with John, because I guess you have the longest direct history with Haley House. You work there now, but for you, you were a kid before and you wanted a social haven. What was that like?
No, actually, I had a troubled youth. My mother's a Colombian immigrant. She came to this country. She tried to raise 3 boys on her own, which was hard for her. And I ended up straying. I ended up doing wrong, committing crimes, and getting involved in drug dealing. And I wound up in federal prison for a long time, So since I was 20 till I was 34, I came out to a halfway house in Boston. And mind you, I've never had a job. I've never worked before. My whole life was centered around that lifestyle. So me coming home, I wanted something different. I ended up losing my mother while I was in prison, as well as my brother that raised me. So I came home to basically nobody, and out here in Boston just trying to find a job, trying to get myself back into society. It was hard because I had no job training, I had no job skills, I never had a job in my life. And trying to find a job, nobody would hire me because of my criminal record. And so I was getting frustrated, and I just remember that the halfway house I was at was located in Huntington Ave, right by YMCA, across the street. And I remember the guys that was living in the halfway house with me, they used to always come back with these giant chocolate chip cookies. And we used to wait on them because we wanted some of them cookies. And I used to ask them, where do you guys work at? And they used to tell me, we work at a bakery in Dudley Square. So that always stuck in my mind for me. So for their misfortune, they ended up going back to prison. So I kind of figured there was 2 jobs openings, So I ran back to Dudley, trying to look for this bakery that I used to talk about, and I ended up finding it. And this had to be November 2014. And I just remember going into the Haley House Bakery Cafe and feeling that energy, feeling that positive vibe. I felt something about that place. It was real. It was appealing to me, And just being there and just being around the people, that's some place that I wanted to work at. And at the time, they was offering a program called the Transitional Employment Program for people coming home, men and women coming home from incarceration. And so I just happened to get there at the right precise time to get into that program. So it all started from there, and I've been there going on over 5 years now. And it's like I told you before, it's my safe haven. It was it was one of the only places that I felt at home and I felt safe away from the streets. I felt away from the stuff going on in my prior life, So I've always had Haley House, it's really been a life-changing experience for me. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still there, because I want to see this place succeed,
Misha, what John's been talking about is really central to Haley House Bakery Cafe's mission. And you're from Roxbury, so you're familiar with it. But on the other hand, your background, you're in hospitality. You want to feed people and make them feel comfortable, and but you want to also do this. What attracts you to it?
On multiple levels, I think that when we're in hospitality, you're talking about taking care of people. You're talking about, making sure that every single person in your establishment has an experience that they're taking home with them, or that they find some sort of reverence with. We're talking about Haley House. It takes it to a different level because it is in a neighborhood. Many places in Boston, you're looking to find that camaraderie between the customer and the organization or the business itself. A lot of places that I've worked and my own history have been, coined themselves as neighborhood spots, but Haley House is one of the only places that I've been that I can honestly say is just that. So with programs that reach across, revenue streams, and we're not talking about finances anymore, we're talking about the people themselves. That's kind of what draws me to this community and this neighborhood and this organization, because it is about, uplifting the business, but uplifting the people themselves along with the business. The community aspect is something that's near and dear to my heart.
John, I know those cookies sound really tempting, but as far as what kept you going on the right path when you were working at Haley House, what was going on between you and the people there, whether it's your colleagues or the customers?
That's a great question, because during my time there, there's so many people that I meet and so many people that have given me a hand. I always kept that in my mind, saying I can't mess up because these people are trying to help me become a better person. How do I look trying to preach something that I'm not doing, you know. So for me, it was real. I took it real personally, and like I said, the training that we got as far as the transitional employment program was great. We got a chance to go to different universities and learn from different people, get mentors, get trained in stuff that I didn't know about, as far as emails, as far as computer skills, as far as baking skills. Like all these came into one program in the cafe, you know. So it was a great space for me, and not only me, for a lot of people walking through them doors, because it was like one of the only places where you having a quarry, or you having a criminal background, or you having a record, it was okay for you to get a job, because they wanted you to get a chance. They wanted you to be a member of society, a member of the community. So there's very few places like that in Boston. That's why I praise so much the Haley House, because honestly, I can honestly say that Haley House saved my life in more ways than one, you know. I tell the story a lot. It's like, I remember being in that halfway house and walking around the Back Bay, walking around the South End and looking at the brownstones and wishing I can live in one of those brownstones. At the time, like I said, I was homeless. I had nowhere to go, no family. And honestly, today I can say that I do live in one of those brownstones, and it's because of the Haley House. So Haley House has given me so much, you know, that I can't even, I wish there was just a lot of these organizations around the city, because the city really needs these type of organizations.
Misha, the Haley House that we knew before, you know, it was a place to get something to eat, get something to drink, and it was a cultural hub too. So what's the future going to be like?
The future is a lot more of that, and in new and different, inspiring ways for the neighborhood. We've recently undergone our renovations, so there are some changes in store that allow us to use the floor plan in a more flexible and open way than we were able to before. So we've created basically a more breathable, open space that allows for the natural light to kind of do what you hope natural light will do. If anyone's been to the Haley House in the past, it was kind of a darker brick motif with lots of tables and chairs. It kind of packed people in a certain way that we're trying to open ourselves up and do something new with. So for the most part, working with the curator Kristen Simone, as well as myself and neighborhood creatives, to allow this space to be more of what it was before, but in new and more exciting ways.
It also looks as if you're going to have more people living within walking distance of Nubian Square, and you're also going to have more competition maybe. So how does the business plan figure around that?
We're at a very unique time with Nubian Square kind of opening itself up for new residents, but at the same time, Haley House historically always being a pillar of within the community, it helps us out in that sense a lot. We already have things that businesses wish they had. We already have the followings, we have the regulars, we have the program, the Friends of Haley House Bakery Cafe program, which is basically old regulars and people that really supported Haley House, but were more geared towards the cafe itself, that stood up and said, hey, you guys are closed, how can we support you? How can we make sure that this comes back in the way that we love it so much? So having, neighborhood funders pretty much be up in the forefront, giving us their opinions, giving us their point of view and what they want to see, helps us out in a huge way, because we're not reinventing the wheel. We're basically doing what people already want to see, things that people have already loved, and just giving it to them with the best quality ingredients, locally sourced, because we do have our own farm, and working with groups like the Eugenia program to find other initiatives in the neighborhood that are doing the same thing or want to help support that, and building kind of cross-pollinating businesses in the economic development of the area.
John, you got help from people at Haley House here before, but in looking to the future, I mean, you're going to be one of the people helping other people.
Of course, right? and it's been happening, like, it's crazy, because I love people when they come to me and they just what I've accomplished is just because I've stuck to a plan, saying I want to do this the right way. I want to stay here and make sure that my life goes on the right path. And a lot of people who have strayed from the Haley House have come back to me and be like, hey, help me out, try to give me a job. And I've been trying to do that as much as I can, but just trying to stop. But we definitely need the help of the community. We need the help of the people to support, because the community and the people need to understand that the Haley House, you supporting the Haley House, you buying us from catering, or you buying a cupcake, or you buying a cookie or a cup of coffee is basically helping us help other people as far as the homeless situation in Boston, as far as housing. Like, Haley House is just more than the cafe, but the cafe is so fundamental to our success as well.
And finally, Misha, two events to tell our viewers about. One is about the relaunch and the upcoming fundraiser on the 9th of February, because we have a little more detail on those.
Absolutely. So February 1st, we'll be having our official relaunch celebration. So a lot of local folks will be coming down, some local representatives on a state and on a community level. Then we also have February 9th, our Super Bowl, our annual Super Bowl is a open bowl fundraiser. Pretty much you'll be purchasing a bowl for about $40. You'll be given your time, your ticket to a lot, in your allotted time to come through to the fundraiser. And we have a range of local chefs that are donating their time and making soup for us there to be able to taste different things, see different people, and take your bowls home with you.
Thank you both very much, Misha Thomas and John Lara.
Thank you.
From Haley House Bakery Cafe. We'll have more news in just a moment.